Welcome to week number 3 of fixing on the Bass Tracker and Bass Tracker vlogs. This is the last week we have to work in this nice, beautiful, heated garage space. We're probably about halfway in our rebuilding of the boat. If you guys haven't watched week 1 and week 2 or the reveal video, I highly recommend you go check those out. So today's agenda is basically finish framing the front end and then basically start getting the back end ready. So with that being said, we got a lot to do, not a lot of time to do it. I'm going to be solo for basically the vast majority of this project. So going to have to do a lot of time management, which I'm not good at. If anybody wants to be my manager, let me know. Let's get to work. Going to be one of the main supports that supports both rod locker storage hatch as well as the tackle storage hatch. I was going to just do regular angled aluminum, but you'll notice with regular angled aluminum, when you put load on it, it tends to kind of bow out and bend under stress. So to prevent that, I actually went ahead and I riveted a second piece right next to it. So basically I made kind of like half an I-beam, and I cut off these slots so that this will slip on top of my main supports, because that way even when a rivet fails or something, the material itself is actually going to be what's keeping the whole thing in place. So fortunately Menards was out of 1/8 inch stock because I have bought it all. So I had to downsize on the tackle side to 1/16 inch. I am going to be adding a 1/16 inch spacer to bump it up to 1/8 inch. I know a lot of guys run 1/16 inch because when you do a design like this or you add enough support, it would be enough and you'd be effectively cutting your weight in half. And you'd also be cutting your price down too. But with that being said, stuff happens on the water when you get a bunch of buddies, when you get some big boys in the boat, and you're up here on one spot of the deck, so you got, like, let's say you got a big fish on one side, whatever. There's always situations in the boat where you can never have too much support. So for something like this where I'm not going to have support for, well, more than 2 feet, I want 1/8 inch. So yeah, basically I made a thing that's stronger than the other thing I was going to use, and we're just going to install this onto the boat. Alright everyone, so it is the next day. I didn't get quite as far as I wanted to, but we still made some pretty good progress, I would say. The rod locker installed, basically ready to go. Today I have cut down and installed the other piece that runs parallel to the inside rod locker. We also have the side ports placed, and we also have the back of the life jacket hatch installed also. So now I'm playing around with how big of a tackle tray solution I want to have. I'm a little nervous because if you guys look, this middle hatch is going to be, so it's going to be wider at the edge versus the base. That hinge is going to have a lot of stress and a lot of strain on it. So I'm trying to decide how far up or back that should be, because I want to have enough strength to where it's going to be durable and it's going to be able to hold up to opening and closing and all that sort of thing. But I also don't want it to be so far up that I can't get any usable storage space in there, or I can't get the hatch open far enough to get to the stuff way in the back. So that's kind of what we're playing around with right now. Didn't get around to the back deck. Maybe we'll get around to that today, hopefully. Big thing today is just get the front all ready to go, all ready to frame up. We're going to start on the front end here pretty quick. We're not doing any storage up front. I'm going to add framing, so if I wanted to add a battery hatch, I'd have the option to. All of these pieces that are installed here, you can stand on. I've done it. These middle ones tend to flex a little bit, and the sides supports tend to just a little bit. But I'm not going to worry about those. I will probably add some center supports here, and the deck that I'm putting on this is going to disperse its load more broadly across the whole frame, so it's not going to be centralized to one specific point. So I'm thinking these should be fine, and these probably would be fine too, just to be on the safe side, since we are spanning, like, I think a 55-inch gap from that front part to this back area here. Another reason why I didn't quite get as far as I wanted to last night, both of the rivet guns that I've been using for this project decided they were going to jam up on a guy, so I had to take them both apart and I had to clean them out. Huge shout out to Trevor, who is borrowing me rivet guns to complete this boat. We got this tool shop one, which, I mean, it works okay. but it's kind of hard to use to get into like tighter spaces, and this boat has had a lot of those. I've been primarily using this guy right here. This is a Surebonder. I'm not sure if the rivets I'm buying are like super cheap or what, but I'm busting rivets in half. Like the stem, I'm busting in half. So huge shout out to Trevor for lending us his tools. Okay, so these are the 3 types of rivets that I've been using for this project. Now, since we're doing aluminum into aluminum, I have been using aluminum, don't use steel, and I've all been using 3/16 shank or stem diameter, whatever you want to call it. And I've been playing between 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch. I've been using 1/4 inch the most. If I'm doing some really skinny stuff like 16th into 16th, I'm using 1/8 inch rivets. And then if I get into some really thick stuff or it's like more than 2 pieces coming together, I've been using 1/2 inch. Between these different 3 types, I've been framing the whole thing, and I've been switching between them for different parts and pieces just to make sure that everything is going to be well bonded. I've also been deburring all of the holes that I'm drilling with the drill with a bigger drill bit. I'm basically just trying to get all that crud out so that I'm not sandwiching any chips in there, so everything's fitting flush, and when there's going to be load on this, it's all going to be able to disperse over as wide of surface area as possible. Basically, because I'm taking my time on this and I'm cutting angles and, you know, deburring stuff and actually trying to take my time, this has been taking time. So stay tuned, stick with it. Let's make some more progress. Alright everybody, welcome back to the next day. Every single day I get over here and I start working on this boat and I set these goals, they take way more time than I thought they would. So what I thought was going to be like a day of framing, maybe half a day to frame out the front end, it actually took like a whole week. This could have took a lot longer if I really want to be nitpicky. Enough of me babbling. I've been over here for a little while already today, and I have just installed the front piece of the deck. I've cut it, riveted it in, it looks great. Basically the framing for this boat was completely done. Still a few pieces I'm going to add up front here yet, but we'll take care of that later. Tonight I'm just going to end up cutting decks, and I'm just going to start fitting decks on here. That's about what we're going to have time for. So. I think day 4 of framing. I only finished not only framing but also cutting the front deck out of plywood. It looks so amazing. It's dry fitted right now, so nothing's set in stone. Basically, as you guys know, we raised this up all 3 inches, so it is now continuous with the entirety of the boat. Not only that, but we also closed off a large portion in there and we raised it and changed it to deck. So 3 good sized hatches in the front here, in addition to this factory hatch over kind of on the side. First hatch we got over here, this is going to be rod storage, this big nice area here. And second hatch here, this is all going to be tackle trays, tackle, basically every smaller fishing related item is going to live in here, or the majority of it. And this is going to be legality hatch, life jackets, fire extinguishers, buoys. This side hatch is going to have our nav lights and, you know, a couple other electronics that are going to be housed through this. So yeah, this piece was really awkward to cut with that little triangle thingy. Not a huge fan of that. We'll see how that works. And then this is just going to be solid hatch. God, there's probably almost a whole 4x8 just in like surface area up here on this front deck, which is way more than factory. It's going to be way better than factory. So hopefully I have enough paint to do this. I didn't think about that, so that would really suck if I don't have enough paint. I don't know, we'll find out. Okay, so already 10:25. Why is there a purple light? It's 10:30. I did a lot of work off camera today. Gave a second layer of paint to everything. I also cut out a couple pieces. I also recut and trimmed up some of the back deck pieces. We're gonna put paint on all these areas that don't have paint. While that's drying, we are going to carpet and carpet glue a lot of these main boards. I'm hoping I can get seven boards I could carpet. Well, I'm planning on not getting out of here until maybe like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow is the last day we have to work on this, so I'm trying to get all the groundwork laid and ready to go. I still have to build the console yet. I still have to figure out and install all the hardware yet and do all the electrical and wiring and everything yet. And so, montage time. Can't even open my donuts I bought.
How do you open those?
It's open. Oh my gosh.
Now look what you did. You gotta eat that one.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Release your donuts. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is no longer 2 a.m. Thank goodness. I have caught up on some sleep. Hatches are done as I showed you guys last night. Already today, I put a second coat of paint on these front pieces here. And this is Julian.
Alright.
You guys haven't seen him for how many years? Like,
A little while.
yeah, it's been a long while, but Julian's been like behind the scenes the whole time. Got back to me and was like, absolutely, I will help you out because I really needed some help right now. So it's a huge shout out and huge appreciation to Julian. So today we got a lot done. I ran into Taylor this morning. Taylor gave us an extension. He's super cool about it, and I feel bad running over on time, but I mean, realistically, it was tight. So I'm so thankful that we got another person here on board. Last night I ran out of carpet, so we picked up some carpet this morning, picked up some hardware. Stay tuned, stick with it. Let's get into today's episode. Shortly after we got to work, we got a few major issues. 2 a.m. Dave, in combination with either A, the lack of sleep, or B, the white claws. We carpeted the wrong side of a couple of these hatches. So, to rip off the carpet off of these two hatches on the sides. Unfortunately, these are the biggest hatches on the boat, and these are the most noticeable. And of course, I screwed it up, and of course, I did it the wrong way. So, huge wrench in the plans for today. I mean, I get like day after day, we've consistently been like throwing some of these curveballs that we have to deal with. And Taylor came in and super nice. He said we can use the next 2 weeks to get this thing done because at this rate, it's gonna be a little bit. So, huge shout out to Taylor. Thank you so much, dude. Oh, it sucks. So we're gonna need more staples now. I think we'll be able to reuse the carpet. Hopefully. No, we won't be able to.
Really?
No, because if you think about it, the angle that they're cut at. So we're gonna need even more carpet now than what we picked up today. What a bummer. What a bummer. This is 7:44. Julian has left. Just been working away on carpeting as many of these deck pieces as I can. I thought I bought enough carpet, but it turns out I didn't, and I made a huge oopsie, and I cut the carpet piece for these two hatches wrong again. 2 times in a row I screwed up them. So the way that they lay on the surface is different than the way that I have to cut it. Those are not done yet. Those need a second layer. These 3 need more layers. We still need a lot more carpet. We're gonna have to make a run tomorrow. Probably gonna need some more carpet glue, which means we have gone through the most carpet glue any of these boat projects have ever taken. Which, go figure, this is the biggest boat that we have done so far. So. Alright, day 1, 2, 4, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. There's the boat, and there's all of the carpeted pieces for the front deck. We finally got them all wrapped up and taken care of last night, all dried, ready to go into the boat. But before we do, probably want to clean out all of this and make sure this is all good to go. There is a hole up front in the boat here, and that's where, well, someone at one point, if I could just show you half the things that somebody did to this boat, I mean, they he committed a lot of sins. A lot of sins. This poor old girl. Hopefully we're doing the right thing, giving her a revamp, and she's not going to start busting rivets on a guy because she's almost 40 years old. But we got this looking sweet. We get the finalized frame all set in place today. I also riveted in 2 supports when Julian was over here the other day that I didn't show you guys on camera. She is rock solid. Got to clean up all these metal shavings, all these rivets, all these staples. Everything's got to get cleaned up in here. All the tools have to get put away. Up here in the front, we just went with a simple design, you know what I'm saying? Just a couple supports. We also riveted an 1/8 inch piece of angled 2-inch aluminum. So I cut it so it was nice and contoured with the hull so it slid in there. And we have approximately 31 different rivets holding this thing onto this front plate here. Unfortunately, this front piece was Swiss cheese, some prior owner. I was a little concerned about, considering we don't have a lot of material up here. We got some weight reduction, but she is so stout. She is stout. She's not going anywhere. So I'm excited. We're gonna actually get to see this thing today. So. This look amazing. I am impressed with what we've come up with here. I mean, this just looks amazing. We have all of the hatches, hinges, regular pieces all cut and carpeted that are on the surface. We still have two inside pieces yet with carpet, just as dividers between the hatches so stuff doesn't roll from hatch to hatch. But right now, just dry fitting everything and just checking it. It looks great. We even got the back deck cut out here and all framed out, ready to go. It's kind of, I kind of have stuff on it, but basically we have the seat. So it's going to be seat here. Deck back here. We got the 2 kind of day box-ish things. We got the hatches for them done, and then we have this nice, beautiful live well, which is gonna open up this way. But yeah, that's the inside of the boat. I just wanted to show you this progress so far. I think it looks fantastic, and man, it's really coming together. It's really looking like, well, it's really looking like a kind of like a mini bass boat. A good old swamp donkey, some good old bucket mouth bass. So she's all framed out. She's looking really good. I'm super happy. I'm super stoked with the layout. So I think at this point, this is where we're gonna end today's episode. We've made a lot of progress in this. We finished framing in this episode. Cut decks, we carpeted decks, we dry fitted everything. We basically cleaned up the boat. I mean, it's looking really good. We made a lot of progress. I thought we'd be done this week, but thankfully Taylor has given us another 2 weeks, if we need it, to finish this boat. So I'm hoping that this doesn't take more than a week. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button, tap that bell icon. If you guys haven't watched the other boat restorations of this series, be sure to check them out. That being said, mission of the day was to basically get the decks fitted, continue making progress all the way up as much as we could. Did that. We made a lot of progress. We had quite a few hiccups, but we got them sorted out, and the end product is just something that I am so excited to use and see what this is going to completely be when it's all said and done. I mean, we have some crazy stuff planned, so you guys are going to want to stay tuned. You guys are going to want to stick with it. That being said, I think today's mission would be a mission complete.